Come think about it. Gotta do it. Who's the cheater? I'm the cheater.
He's turned his back, takes another right. Hearns in deep trouble again. Hearns is down.
No one stands toe-to-toe with Hagler. No one. Hagler was a beast in the ring. He was one of the guys who was in the best shape 100% of the time.
I'm gonna knock him out. That's all it is to it, and that's the bottom line. I'm gonna knock him out, and he will not be the beast no more. And this man, I will end his career for him.
With the visit, Marvin, the question was, man, what was you taking? The answer was, I didn't want to fall. I wasn't going to fall. I was determined to win this fight.
You better get your popcorn and your beers and find your seat real quick, because this fight don't necessarily have to go 12 rounds, because I'm out there to rip his head off. I got H-U-R-T written in my mind.
He was Marvin Hagler, without question. God bless his soul. Was one of the great, if not the greatest, middleweight champion ever. And it bothered me.
There are fighters who are good. There are fighters who are great. And then there is Marvin Hagler, a man who compiled 62 wins, 52 by knockout, ruling the middleweight division for 7 uninterrupted years. A shaved head, cold eyes, and a presence that made grown men hesitate before they even threw a punch. Mike Tyson once said, "Marvin Hagler is scary as hell." The name Marvelous might sound clever or fancy, but that man was always ready for a brutal war every single time he walked into the ring. So what exactly made Marvin Hagler that terrifying? Let's find out. On April 15th, 1985, at Caesars Palace in Las Vegas, the world witnessed 8 minutes that many boxing historians still call the most savage in the history of the sport. Hagler's opponent that night was Thomas the Hitman Hearns, a fighter with a long reach and a right hand widely considered the most destructive punch of that era. The two men had been circling each other for years, the fight delayed multiple times by injuries and contractual disputes. When the night finally came, Hagler walked to the ring wearing a robe with the word "war" stitched across the front. That was not a fashion choice. That was a declaration. What happened next shocked even the most seasoned observers. Hagler, known for starting slowly and building pressure over rounds, exploded forward from the opening bell. Hearns caught him with a thunderous right hand that opened a deep gash above Hagler's eye. Blood poured down his face. In that moment, most fighters would have retreated, covered up, tried to survive. Hagler pressed forward harder. He turned a wound into fuel. By the third round, referee Richard Steele paused the fight so the ringside doctor could examine the cut. Sensing the fight could be stopped at any second, Hagler unleashed a final combination, ending with a right hook that sent Hearns crashing to the canvas. Legendary trainer and commentator Teddy Atlas reflected on that night in 2025. Hagler was a seeker and destroyer, a snatcher of souls, shaped by the anger of every injustice he had faced on the way to the top. Ringside broadcaster Al Michaels, moments after the final bell, simply said, "It didn't last long, but it was a violent kind of beauty." Hagler himself never needed sympathy. He said, "If they cut my bald head open, they will find one big boxing glove. That's all I am. I live for this." In 1980, Hagler traveled to London to challenge Alan Minter, the reigning middleweight champion of the world. Before the fight, Minter made a statement that poisoned the entire atmosphere. He told reporters openly, "I'm not going to let a black man take my title." Those words set the tone for what became one of the ugliest nights in British boxing history. Wembley Arena was packed with nationalist fury. The crowd was hostile from the moment Hagler entered the building. Any other fighter might have been rattled, distracted, or emotionally derailed before the first punch was thrown. Hagler walked in as if none of it existed. He had learned long ago to convert hatred into focus. What followed was a systematic destruction. Hagler dismantled Minter in fewer than 3 rounds, leaving his opponent's face so severely damaged that it required 15 stitches to close afterward. When the referee stopped the contest, the arena erupted, not in celebration, but in chaos. Bottles, beer cans, and debris rained down onto the ring from the stands. Instead of raising his fists in triumph, the new middleweight champion of the world had to crouch under police protection just to exit the building safely. BBC broadcaster Harry Carpenter called it the lowest point in many years of covering boxing in this country, and described the crowd's behavior as a disgrace. Promoter Mickey Duff later issued a formal apology to Hagler and referred to those responsible as animals. Through all of it, Hagler kept his own account simple. He said, "It was a dream come true. I was finally the undisputed middleweight champion of the world." On March 10th, 1986, Marvin Hagler stepped into the ring against John the Beast Mugabe, a fighter from Uganda who had stopped every single one of his 25 professional opponents. Not some of them, all of them. 100% knockout rate. Mugabe did not box. He hunted. By this point, Hagler was no longer a young man by boxing standards. The war with Hearns had taken something out of him physically, and those close to the sport quietly wondered how much he had left. Hagler answered that question in the most direct way possible, by walking straight into Mugabe's power and refusing to move. For 10 rounds, the two men punished each other with shots that would have finished most fighters within the first few exchanges. Hagler absorbed punishment that defied logic and kept coming forward, dismantling Mugabe piece by piece. In the 11th round, it was over. The beast had been stopped. A member of the boxing community who witnessed the fight wrote years later, Mugabe had the mental strength to keep going, but his body had been systematically broken down. Hagler outworked him, outfought him, and simply outlasted him. Hagler later reflected with rare honesty, "When I watch footage of myself, I think, I would not want to fight that guy." While other champions enjoyed the comforts that came with success, Hagler deliberately chose the opposite. His training camps in Provincetown, Massachusetts were self-imposed prisons. He cut himself off from family, from warmth, from anything that might soften the edge he spent years sharpening. In the dead of winter, he ran on the beach wearing heavy military boots, not running shoes, to build leg strength and mental endurance simultaneously. The cold, the isolation, the physical weight of those boots, all of it was intentional. He believed that if training was harder than the fight, then the fight itself would feel manageable. Hagler explained his philosophy plainly. It's hard to get up at 5 in the morning to run when you are sleeping in silk pajamas. He also said, every fighter has to be dedicated. Learn how to sacrifice. Know what commitment means. Make sure you are paying attention and studying your craft. His opponents felt the result of those winters every time they reached the later rounds. That was where Hagler truly began. Most fighters respond to disrespect with their fists. Hagler responded with a courthouse. By 1982, he had grown increasingly frustrated with television broadcasters who consistently dropped the word marvelous when introducing him, a nickname he had worked years to earn and considered inseparable from his identity. Rather than complain, he took the matter to a judge and legally changed his birth name to Marvelous Marvin Hagler. From that point forward, every broadcaster, every announcer, every journalist who referred to him by name had no choice but to call him exactly what he demanded. It was not vanity. It was a statement of power, delivered through legal channels rather than leather gloves. The message was clear. If the world refused to give him the respect he had earned, he would make that respect mandatory. Promoter Bob Arum observed at the time, he felt he wasn't getting enough attention and credit from the media, and he decided to change that in his own way. Hagler had started boxing at 14 years old to escape poverty. He had been fighting for recognition his entire life. The name change was simply the latest round. 67 professional fights. Never knocked out, never dropped cleanly on the canvas. A champion who trained in military boots on a frozen beach, who walked through blood to finish his enemies, who took on a hostile arena of thousands, and still walked out as champion. He lost only 3 times in his entire career, all by judges' decision. Never by force, never by a better man hitting harder. Mike Tyson said it best. That man did not compete. He went to war. In boxing, there are fighters who are good. There are fighters who are great. And then there is Marvelous Marvin Hagler. What do you think about Hagler? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe to support the channel. Thank you.